Top of the morning to you. It's gonna be a hot one today. It's been hot for the past couple days. That's okay. There's plenty of things to do to beat heat. Kind of out here moving around a little early before the rest of the world wakes up before it gets too hot. Needed to go down to the store today and just for fun thought I'd take one of my portable shortwave radios with. One of the fun things about listening to shortwave radio or any sort of monitoring or scanning is if you have portable equipment, is to take it to new places. You know, throw it in your suitcase, tuck it in a little bag in your duffel bag, pop it in the car. You know, you can wrap it up in a towel so it doesn't get hurt. It's always amazing what places you can find, especially if you're kind of a homebody. This is a way to get out and about and find new locations. You might find some new frequencies you've never heard before. It always pays to snoop around. Doesn't hurt anything. You know, you could, if you go on a little picnic or fishing trip or something, you can take your shortwave radio with. If the picnic food or the fish aren't biting, then you can always just turn on the radio and see what you can find. Especially if you go to a different city or out of town or something, it's a great way to find some new frequencies. For those folks that like scanning, you can always probably bump into some new, you know, business band or police or marine or anything. If you live, especially a marine, if you live in town like I do, you don't get to get near the water very much, especially where there might be marine traffic. Some of those radios don't go terribly far, or a lot of those locations are kind of down in a bowl or a trough a little bit, and they kind of limit the communications. So it might be a way to find some fun stuff to listen to. I need to go over here to the store a little bit, actually the hardware store. The other thing that's kind of fun about that is if you have some friends or a group, club, you might trade information about some potential hot locations where you've heard stuff, help you fill out your logbook or just enjoy the hobby a little bit more. Well, I'm going to shut you off because this is probably not terribly exciting. Although I could edit it out, I guess. Oh, we'll just go along for the ride. How's that sound? If you don't find this interesting, I can certainly appreciate that. You can always fast forward it a little bit. The other good thing about kind of mobile monitoring or scanning or listening for shortwave is sometimes you run into some very limited low power communications facilities like hospitals and factories and I don't know, even big box stores. They have in-house communications, but they limit it pretty hard so they don't interfere with other places like that, so they can share the same frequencies over and over again. One of the things that's kind of fun if you're interested in scanning is, I like anyway, is you can listen to the traffic on the drive-through for the fast food places. Although that's getting to be a little bit thin. A lot of them have gone totally digital, and it's that people can't monitor them. Or what was really happening is that I don't think they're worried so much about monitoring as people were taking programmable transmitters and screwing with them, which is kind of sad. That just ruins it for everybody. Now nobody can listen to those things. But there's always plenty of other things to listen to. The other fun thing to listen to is if you have local air shows. We have a big air show every year, and their communications are somewhat limited. and they're highly, I want to say, seasonal. You only hear it once a year. It might be a good reason to take a little tape recorder, or actually I use the little pocket, I don't know, kind of personal recorders or memo recorders. The solid state ones have replaced the old cassette ones. But it doesn't mean if you have an old cassette one, don't run out and buy one of the newer ones. There are a lot of them. I will give you a look. Actually, I probably ought to make a separate video about this. But be careful what you buy. Some of them have the ability to be hooked to your personal PC and have the files downloaded. But if you buy one, keep in mind that some of the manufacturers are very poor about keeping things up to date. I have a little Sony one that I bought several years ago, and of course the operating system I use at home for my PCs went through several changes, and the manufacturer is not kept up. I recently had to reinstall one of my laptops and decided to put the software for the personal recorder on there just for fun, and the operating system didn't have the manufacturer didn't have a driver that supported the operating system, which kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. It won't stop me from using it. Now, on the other hand, if you find one at a garage sale or estate sale or something, and they've got some ridiculous price on it, and you know for a fact that manufacturer doesn't have a driver for it, you might be able to talk them down and say, well, yeah, that piece of equipment has software, but it's useless because there's no driver for it. They might come down a little bit. In general, you find those personal recorders pretty cheap, whether they be the cassette and the small tape ones or the micro cassette ones. You can usually find those things for a couple bucks. Although, another little friendly warning, if you get one of the micro cassette ones, be aware that those cassettes are getting a little scarce to find. Although I did find a office supply place that would order them in, and he did alert me that there are two different styles. That I did not know. And they ordered it in and didn't charge me anything for the shipping, which I thought was pretty funny because I didn't know which style this one might take. I looked it up to try and figure it out. I couldn't get anywhere with that, so I just relented and ordered one of each style just to figure out which one it was. And they didn't charge me. I'm sure they didn't make any money off of this. Well, I'm here at the store, and I think what will happen is I'm going to go in and hunt down my goodies, then come out, we'll listen a little bit, see if we can find anything interesting. Take her easy. Well, I did a little snooping around with my radio and really didn't find too much. It's kind of a quiet day. That's okay. Some days you find gold and some days you don't. It's to be expected. That's another potential reason people get discouraged in this hobby, is sometimes it can be days and never really hear a really good, interesting signal. It can get a little discouraging. Sometimes you got to move around or try different locations, or try a different time. I don't know. Take your portable radio if you have one to work, and during your lunch hour, your co-workers might find it interesting. You might gain some allies there. Never hurts to experiment. I can tell you how many different antennas I've put up and torn down over the years, or gotten torn down and weren't going to cry my eyes out. I remember one year I spent a lot of time and money putting an antenna up, and I was pretty disappointed in the thing. And a windstorm knocked a tree branch onto it, tore it all down. I think I just called it a loss and was pretty happy about the whole thing. Well, I'm gonna head back home, do a little work. I might try a little bit later in the day, see what we can find. Take her easy. Have a good day.